Hey, everyone out there, thanks for joining us. It is 5:07. We are going to get started here in a minute. We are just getting everything going. We are on a new platform, so bear with us. But I see already people are coming in, already people talking. So thank you so much for joining us. We are going to have a great roundtable discussion all around O-line play. I know all you guys have been asking for O-line play already throughout all of our communications so far. Hey, Coach Jolly, how you doing? Sounds like Coach Jolly's ready. Yeah, see, Brand, here we go. So thank you guys. Keep commenting in. Appreciate you guys coming in. Let's get a roll call of who's from where. And as we kind of wait for everything to get ready on our side, let's just continue to hang tight, and we'll get started here in just a second. I have myself right now in here with Coach Napier. Coach, how you doing?
Doing well, man. I hear everybody's calling me out on my hair. Yeah, I got hair, see, Brand.
That's the funniest thing. Everyone has their quarantine hair. North Carolina's in the house. It's a little wet out there. Nice. Great. Coach Nap's got hair. There you go. See? You can see it too. Good. Coach Mike Hardwick, how you doing? Okay, I'm going to play my new little while we're killing time and having some fun, I'm going to play my my new little intros. Let me know how you guys like it. How you guys like it? Is it fair or foul? Coach Nap likes. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I like it.
All right, cool. Hey, the boss man, Hefe, wanted to shout you out, Coach. Oh, how to combine stick and corner. I've been telling people about how you combine stick and corner on your advanced quick game. So I'm going to put the link to your advanced quick game in the 92 mesh group so people can go consume that. That's where I saw it. But I think Coach Nate might come on and do it for you guys at some other time as well on our show. But yeah,
I'll do an exclusive for my man here.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Cool. Shaquille Robertson, thanks for coming in. Shaq from Texas. Josh from South Carolina, appreciate you jumping in. Paul, how's it going, Paul? Our Pennsylvania guy. How's it going out there? North Carolina, Jolly, Willie Flynn in the house. Appreciate it. While we got a few minutes before we get started, guys, want to make sure we take a second and make sure we're all subscribed to this channel. This is kind of how we're going to do it if it all works out well moving forward. So make sure you have, oh, yeah, Facebook's working. Love it. Facebook user from Arizona. We are streaming on both YouTube and Facebook right now. Hefe, come on, man. That's how you pronounce Hefe. How else do you do it? Jeffy? Baskin, Roland. Randy, are you on the road in the big wheeler right now? Yeah, Todd. Appreciate you logging on to both. Thank you, sir. Hey, while we're kind of waiting to get started, Coach Salas and Coach Shane, they're coming in from a coaches meeting. So we're just going to hang out and wait to get started here in a second. If anybody, I know we typically have a section. Oh, there's Coach Dular. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us. So if anybody has any flight school questions while we're waiting to get going, please put them in the chat. But I see we have a nice group. We're up and over 20. We are streaming live right now on Facebook and YouTube. So let's just start with introduction. Now that Coach Shane is here, we're going to get going. Coach Salas is still on his way. He's coming in shortly, but let's get started. So thank you guys, everyone, for coming in today. We are doing our regular bi-weekly roundtable, middle school air raid national roundtable. Coach, before you came in, we were kind of doing a roll call, and there's coaches from all over the country, DC, West Coast, East Coast, South. So there's a lot of middle school coaches and youth coaches that are excited to talk about the O-line play. That is probably the biggest pushback that I get is, what about O-line? What about O-line? So I wanted to bring you guys some O-line experts in here. But first, let me let you guys introduce yourselves. Coach Shane Dular, as we've been promoting, is in the house. Coach, you want to just introduce yourself real quick for those, if someone's been living under a rock and doesn't know who you are in the air raid world, introduce yourself a bit.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot that don't know me, but yeah, my name's Shane Dular. I got my start with Coach Mummy when I was a very, very, very young, impressionable guy. I got my start at Valdosta State. I was a student assistant when I was actually working. I'd gone to my first couple of years of school and was taking a break working fast food when Hal Mummy got the job at Valdosta State. And I heard the stories about this guys were going to throw the ball all over the field. And I called my buddy Joe Salas, man. I said, look, this new coach is coming in at Valdosta State. He's going to throw the ball all over the place. And believe it or not, Hal Mummy actually came in the restaurant that night, and I met him and some of the staff that night, him and Leach and a couple other guys. And Joe went and met him after that. And, the rest is history. I've been running the offense ever since then, and in whole or in parts, wherever I've been, I guess, for now, the last 25, 26 years now.
So awesome. That's so great. And what position, have you been always offensive coordinator? Did you ever take certain position coach, like just specific position?
Pretty much been the OC or head coach everywhere I've been. I've not always been the number one play caller. I've worked for Salas when he was the number one play caller and I was his coordinator. I was his play caller for years as well. I've been at schools where I've been the OC and play caller. I'm at a school now. We're actually not an air raid school. We run a lot of the same concepts. I wanted to learn from a head coach that was a little bit different. We actually coached against one of the top coaches in North Carolina when I was up there. And he got a job in South Carolina, and he asked me to go with him. And I kind of wanted to learn what he did. He did stuff a little bit different, and I thought I had a lot of respect for him. And he offered me the job, so I went down there with him. He's the predominant play caller here. I'm still the coordinator, but he's the predominant play caller. But I've learned a tremendous amount, especially in the run game, from him. So I kind of I've expanded my horizons a little bit, but. I kind of get known for the offensive line, but, in all honesty, I really only coached it, I think 3 years of my career. I've coached quarterbacks the last 22 years.
Nice.
So, but, I kind of, as the coordinator, I coach everything. So.
Awesome. Well, you just volunteered to come back as a quarterback guest too then. So thanks for that, Coach.
Absolutely.
Hey, and at some point I got to get you on to talk huddle. I absolutely love your breakdown of huddles. Hefe just mentioned in the comments how he loved that recent huddle breakdown video that you did. And if you guys haven't seen that, check it out. Honestly, it's awesome.
Yeah, I just did an expanded version of it too, because I tell you, Joe wanted me to do one, and the limit was 15 minutes. I could not really get into enough detail, and I got my email got just landslided with how do they actually do all that stuff. So I actually did a longer breakdown of it of how to actually do all that stuff, and would love to sit down with anybody who wants to go through all that, because there's a lot of little neat tricks to it. I think that would help some offensive coaches out, because it's like I said in the video that I did with Joe, defensive coaches, I think, have been using huddle for years to break everything down. And offensive coaches, you talk to them and most of them just they watch film and that's it. They don't really use it enough. So there's some things you can do in there.
No, and it's crazy that offensive coaches aren't. That's who should be literally using that data on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis on what to call.
Absolutely, yes. So
that's crazy. And I'm out here in the Bay Area, and it's all my friends and me are working at technology companies, and that is all we talk about all day is how to use data to make smart decisions. And it's no different in football, guys. So if you're not doing it, I know middle school and youth, they don't always have resources behind it to do it. But, we have a huddle thing for our, we're a nonprofit organization. As long as you have the huddle license, you can go in there and literally, this year I did it throughout the season and, down and distance, what play, what formation. And just by doing it, taking a few minutes every week, you can spit out so much great information.
That's why I tell everybody the whole key is just being disciplined about getting the data entry in there each week. Whether one coach does it or my suggestions, obviously, to spread the data, spread the wealth around. But you just got to be disciplined about putting that data in there and then take advantage of it. Where I'm at, Huddle gives you 4 teams per subscription. So, most of the time your middle school should be on there anyways. Most teams just don't take advantage of it. I'm lucky where I'm at. Our 3 middle schools, they take full advantage of it. They trade film for all their games and they actually use Huddle quite a bit.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, take advantage, guys. I know a lot of people say, is it worth it for youth in middle school? But if you're coaching and you have kids that love this stuff, it's only going to make it better for everyone. So not to get too far off track before we get started, but that is a huge point. Coach Knapp, why don't you introduce yourself as well? I know we didn't technically bring you in for the O-line piece, but you're available. I wanted to get your face on my Roundtable show. So introduce yourself. This is another person you're going to get to know, young boys and girls out there.
Well, man, I saw Joe and Shane was coming on. Those are my boys. I was like, man, I gotta get on this. I actually called Shane earlier today because I had a technology issue and he had to help me out through it. But anytime I can support these guys and you, I'm going to do it. I can see all the comments. I appreciate it, guys. People saying they learn from me and stuff. But if you guys want to find me on Twitter, get a hold of me. I've coached with Grange College with Matt Mummy. Became really good friends with Shane and Joe and Jor Coltharp and Drew Piscopo and those guys. So just a lot of great resources out there. Coach and I were talking earlier. The great thing about the Air 8 is we all kind of network and share things together. There's no secrets. And anything I can do to help you guys, just let me know. And I have done this at a middle school level too. So I kind of know where some of you guys are coming from. So just anything I can do to help.
For sure. And, that's a huge point. Everyone, and I'm relatively new to all this Air Raid as well. Everyone's just so open to sharing information. So guys, take advantage. We have some really great, knowledgeable Air Raid folks that have been doing it for decades. And I feel like I'm only in this position because I probably had the best film of any middle school, like the clearest film, and was able to put it out. But besides that, I just want to be a conduit to help other youth and middle school coaches understand that they can run this at that level. You can run it at a high level and you can execute if you just know how to coach it up. And that's the goal that we're in. So yes, Coach CNAP87 at Twitter. Go follow him if you're not. You probably already are. And then Coach Dular, he just dropped. He's probably signed back in a second. I want to make sure I called out his website, DularAirRaid.com, before we get going with him. And we can kind of get the party started. Now, he just dropped out. And as he's kind of coming back in, do we get any quick game or any questions about the let's see if I can get him back on. Any quick game questions or flight school questions? No, we just have more jokes from Mike Hardwick. I have 2 man crushes. 2. There's 3 people up here, Mike. Thanks a lot, buddy. Mike, that's a pretty personal question. We'll talk on the side about that. So let me just make sure I'm not missing any questions that we can answer right now while we're getting Coach Shane back on.
And guys, I'll say this about Shane. I had the pleasure of seeing his O-line clinic down in North Carolina. If he's going to cover that stuff today, you guys are in for a treat, because I'm just telling you, it's amazing what he can do with O-linemen, and he's a quarterback coach. So, I would take all the notes I can tonight, because he's going to give you everything you want.
Exactly. He's just a wealth of knowledge. I've heard him kind of go, come into a meeting. It's only supposed to be 45 minutes and just go for hours. He's just the kind of guy that
he's the man.
Kind of guy that just can go. Okay, good. We got a great question about the bandit drill. You do the bandit drill, Coach?
Oh yeah, yeah, you have
at the end of practice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we started to do it toward the end of the season after I got my feet under me and I kind of understood what was going on. So let's see. Do you run the bandit drill? Yes, we do. Do you have just the receiver that catches the ball, run to the goal line, and replace him for the next play?
Have the O-line coach do that.
Say it again, coach.
Have your O-line. This is what we've done in the past. It's easier if you have your O-line coach be the guy with two extra balls, because he's right there in the thick of it. Everybody else is on the sidelines coaching, just like you're playing the game before the game. But I like having my O-line coach be that guy with the ball. He's got two balls there, so he can kind of see everything in front of him. We also have those blitz pickup cards. He can show the scout D what he wants him doing stunt-wise. That way they know how to pick it up. And, Coach, I don't care. I can email you those blitz pickup cards if you want them to send them out to these guys.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the way we've done it, and I'm still pretty new at it, but I really wanted to start doing it after I heard about how cool it is that we did have the ball carrier that's executing, like catches the ball or runs with the ball. He goes to the goal line if he's within 50, and if you're coming out, you run to the 50 essentially, and he would just run, and then we'd replace that one guy. But I like the idea of all the skill positions finishing the drill to the goal line, and then just replacing all of them to keep it going. So I don't know if there's
how many guys you got too. You know what I'm saying? Like the middle school, the year that I coached middle school,
yeah,
we were lucky to have 20 kids. If I'd have done that, we wouldn't have had a team. There he is. There's the man.
There you go.
Sorry, man. I'm going to blame this technology.
No, it was my computer. Sorry. I'm blessed to be this. We're at a 1-to-1 school. Every kid in our school gets a laptop, but every now and again the Wi-Fi adapters go out and you got to reset them.
Oh, gotcha. All right, cool. Well, so I was just plugging your website, dularairraid.com. Anything else that you want to make sure that we put on here for you while we're talking about it?
Heck yeah, go to my coach tube, buy a course.
Yeah, well, so I am going to put in your O-line and your huddle links in the bottom of this one, right? When this goes live or when we post this to YouTube later, I'll put the links in for your O-line course that you did on Mesh 92. That was awesome. I watched that one. The huddle one, I believe, is in there now. I've seen the free version of that, but I didn't see the newest one.
Right.
So I'll put those both in there. And Coach Knapp, I'll put your links in there for the receiver. I send my receiver coaches, Coach Knapp's drills that he does, and he did a video on that. So I'll put all the stuff we're talking about in the info underneath afterwards, so people can easily just click on it and go dig in more. So if you don't mind, we can just get started. The way I wanted to kind of do this was just pose it as a youth coach, right? And every year, for the most part, we have new staff. I mean, at least where we live, we try to not have one group of coaches follow one group of kids from the youngest levels, 7 and 8, all the way up to the end. We want them to work with different coaches. We don't want dads to coach, so we don't have to worry about daddy ball. So essentially, we're kind of coming in every year trying to figure out who my O-line coach is going to be, who my receiver coach is going to be, who my quarterback coach is going to be. And, you usually have 2 or 3 guys that you can lean on to start the core, but you kind of got to come into every year, and O-line especially, because it's such a specific role in this offense. It's so important in every offense, I should say. It all starts and finishes no matter what offense you run. If you play football with the O-line, and I honestly believe that. So I kind of wanted to kind of go through it in that way and kind of just ask you questions. And if you want to present things, you can grab the screen and do it. But if we don't mind, I'd love to hear your thoughts on just like, number one, before you even hit the field, let's just say this time, before the season starts, talking about O-line kind of mission and philosophy. Do you have kind of a overarching philosophy for O-line play that you kind of use to kind of set the tone with your coaches or with the team that you talk about?
Nap, you got anything?
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead, Shane.
Okay. All right. I don't really have what I would say an overarching philosophy. But what probably like every position, we want to maximize, what our kids can do. We want to simplify our scheme. We want to maximize the ability of what our kids can do. And that's probably what the air raid's all about. And everything. And then we want to focus on the fundamentals and pick out, and perfect a few drills. If there's one thing that I could do, and when I first started out, we would always do kind of a rec in middle school coaching clinic. That was voluntary, and if our guys wanted to come, they could come. Sometimes that would be successful, sometimes it wouldn't, because a lot of times they kind of had their own ideas. But one of the things I always tell them is, the key to being good at any level is the drills. And Nap will tell you the same thing. It doesn't matter what position it is, but get good at the drills. As a coach, master the drills that teach what you want to do. Whether you want to teach the zone, whether you want to teach the counter, whether you want to teach pass pro, it doesn't really matter. Figure out some of the base drills that teach what you want to teach. Become the master of it. Know what that drill is supposed to look like. Know what it's supposed to teach. Know what the fine points of that drill are, and then teach it that way. And then focus on that and just repeat that drill over and over and over. Too often, and we all know this. Bad coaches throw a ball out there and try and run plays all the time. That's what bad coaches do. Good coaches teach fundamentals through drills. Then they put it together and they teach schemes to small groups. Then they go to team and put everything together. And so I try and teach that to young coaches, when they first start out in the high school level, and in youth coaches. Teach fundamentals through drills. That's the whole key to it. Fine tune your drills. Figure out the drill, and don't work drills that don't teach don't teach drills that are not working the things that help you. There's no reason to teach a pull drill if you're not pulling for any of your plays. Find the stuff that helps you teach what you want to teach. If you're going to be a pass pro drill, you better have something that has a stance, however you're teaching your pass sets, that teaches you how to back up and how to reset your balance. You better learn how to set to the leverage you want to be in, where you're going to put your hands. You better learn how to fire off with the correct foot, how you're going to engage. You got to figure out how you're going to teach all those things, and then you got to drill those, and you got to do it every single time so that it becomes a habit for you as a coach and a habit for them as a player.
Absolutely. That's a huge point. And air raid in general, that's a huge point. You keep it simple. It's all about reps, and you don't waste time in practice doing stuff that you're not going to do in the game. Come on. So I love that. Thank you so much. And so, we all grew up playing football for the most part, people in this roundtable. An O-line coach always seemed to be kind of the fiery guy. And I love that about our O-line coaches. Mm-hmm. They did seem to have that mentality and attitude. And when I got back to coaching youth ball, I wanted to coach the quarterbacks and running backs and receivers as we started doing air raid. And I haven't had enough time to kind of get down to the line like I wanted to. And, I was lucky enough to play for a great O-line coach, Coach K at University of Nevada. He was at Arkansas as offensive coordinator not too long ago. And he just had this mentality and attitude that he could set. And they did different things at Nevada to promote that. They call the O-line the union. And they, everything's kind of built around the union, and they have all these things they do to incentivize O-line,
right.
Play with that mentality and get hard. Do you guys do anything specific that might be good ideas for these guys to try to instill, even though we're not running the ball 70%, we're throwing it 70%. We still want to have that mean, dirty attitude. We still want to be the nastiest players on the field. We still want to bring that attitude, like we're setting the tone for the team. Is there anything that you can suggest that could be helpful, kind of doing that holistically? I don't know if you guys talk about certain things on an ongoing basis, or is that just something that you just?
No, absolutely. No, I think that's absolutely critical. I think the heart and the physicality of your offense has to come from that position. Doesn't matter what offense you're in. If you're in the power I, and you're running off tackle, you better have a mean, nasty O-line that's got their hand in the dirt. They're squeezing every bit of juice out of it. They should see some, they should see oil coming out of the ground because they're squeezing so much out of it. And then that's where it comes from. It's not coming from the tailback who's looking for the hole. It's not coming from the quarterback who's turning his back to the defense when he hands that ball off. It's coming from those O-linemen firing off that ball. And it's not any different in a spread offense. If we're running counter, it's because we're down blocking a 1 technique and we're kicking out a 6 technique and we're pulling on that play side linebacker. If we're going to run zone, it's because we're making those 2 mates on the front, those front side techniques. It has to come from those positions right there. And you got to talk about it. And you're right. Those O-line coaches, man, they got to be, they might not always be the fiery guy, but they got to have some energy and they got to have some excitement. And that has to carry over to those guys, because if they don't bring the heat, then you're going to be a little soft on offense. And I'm a firm believer in that. They got to have some energy to them. But yes, we talk about that all the time. When I was a head coach, or when I was the O-line coach, we always got them a T-shirt, or we always at least talked about, ATM. O-line was ATM, all that matters. They were ATM, all that matters. And we'd always talk about, making them a unit, eating together, hang out together, doing stuff together, because, honestly, a lot of times we get the players because they couldn't play nowhere else. It's unfortunate but true, but they were better athletes. They were probably playing D-line. All right. If they were a better football player, they were probably somewhere else. When you got to go to that kid on D-line or a linebacker and say, hey, man, it might be time for you to put a 50, 60, 70 number on. That's usually not a fun conversation. That's not something a kid wants to hear, and I've had to do that a few times, unfortunately. And, those kids, man, that look on their face when you tell them, I know you love playing 3 technique, man, but you're fixing to be a left tackle. Man, that crushes them until they get over there. Usually about 3 days, a week with us, and they come back and say, man, this is the most fun ever, because being part of O-line is the best thing ever. I mean, it is the best group of guys to be with. Man, they're the most fun to be with. They work the hardest. It's the only position where everything you do is to help your brother right next to you and help the guy behind you. And it's all about making the team better. There ain't no individual stats for freaking O-linemen. And there's something about that. And you got to have a guy that buys into that and who feeds that energy into the O-line. And then when you got that guy right there, you're going to have a good offense.
100%. I cannot agree more.
I'll add to that, Shane. I've always heard this since I've been a little, what you allow, you coach. So the best O-line coaches I've been with, no matter what drill they're doing, they finish everything with a shove. They teach them to be nasty. It doesn't matter if you're vertical set and whatever it is. When you guys are done, you shove each other. So you're teaching the nasty. The second thing on that is, and Shane had a great point, those O-linemen, they don't get any stats. As a coach, especially as a coordinator, in the air raid, you better tell that QB, the running back, and the receivers, every time they score, they better find them big guys and give them some love, because nothing's happening unless they're protected.
That's right.
Yeah.
And here's the last thing. And not to disagree with Matt, because I do think you got to teach them to be nasty through the drills. I don't teach them to shove, because I hate that in pass pro. I get on to them about that. I make them do push-ups. But because I hate them, I don't like them getting off being disengaged. That's kind of a big deal for us in pass pro. But one thing, and I know this is kind of sacrilege for a passing guy like me. One of my dreams is to go through a game and never run the ball a single time. I haven't done it yet. I've come close, but there is some magic. I mean, there is magic to getting on that 5-man sled or that Crowder sled and moving that thing for 5-10 yards until a whistle blows. And those guys, I mean, they go until the echo of the whistle. And that's where you teach that deal right there. We do not stop until that whistle has stopped blowing. And if they do, man, there's got to be some repercussions to it. A lot of times those repercussions are with a smile and with a joke and with some teasing, but there's got to be some repercussions. And that's where, I mean, you got to get that. You got to get that. Where, man, we're tough, we're mean, we're nasty, we're physical. Yeah, we're going to throw the ball. We're going to pass it, but we're going to be mean and nasty about it. We're going to be the most physical passing team in America.
Absolutely. I just love that. And I love the idea of getting the O-line their own individual T-shirts that nobody else has.
That's right.
Nobody else gets. ATM all day. I love it. So what we've done, and I copied it from University of Nevada, the Union gets really nice bricks for a good blocking game. They put your name on a plat and, put the date of the game and who you played, and then they give you a brick if you had a great game blocking. And we did. My wife's an elementary school teacher, so she has these cardboard bricks that you can fold. You buy them in big plackets and you fold them up. And so we were doing that. We're just writing the kid's name and the game that they had on it, so they can remember, and then stack the bricks at home, in their room or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think all you guys that are going to coach O-line, you got to incentivize it. It's not a sexy position. Like Coach Dular said, we're breaking a lot of hearts out in youth football when Timmy can't be Odell Beckham and he's the slowest kid on the team and the ball hits him in the face mask before it hits his hands. But somehow a week into camp, he still thinks he should be the starting receiver. So
Matt, I just stole that one. I just wrote that one down. The brick idea, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was
good.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's mid-90s University of Nevada. I can't take it. Coach House, Coach K, they're awesome. And they're actually, Coach House is still around Nevada coaching at high school.
I'm gonna steal it. Tell him it's my idea though.
Okay, good. Go for it. I stole plenty from you guys, so it all goes around.
Yeah, anyway, Shane invented mesh too.
That's right.
Beautiful. Okay, cool. So bottom line of that is find a way to incentivize and make them feel special, because they really are. And I talk about it in front of the team all the time. I found my new favorite phrase of this offseason is no block, no rock. I'm going to use that for my receivers. Was that you, Nap, that said that? I don't know. Somebody said that, and I wanted to steal it. But for the O-line, make them feel special, because, they're not going to score any touchdowns unless you get up 3 touchdowns and you get on goal line and you want to hand the ball off a little bit. But that's a whole nother conversation. You youth coaches out there, I want to know if you guys give the O-line carries once you get up a certain amount of points. That's something else we need to earmark that, because we do that, and I think it's really cool. Okay, good. So we're still in this part of the season. The season hasn't started yet. We're getting ready. We're thinking about, okay, do we do a vertical set? Do we do a slide? Can you talk me through, and I know what you do, so I'm not trying to make this a trick question, but maybe I'll start it by asking, why did you choose the vertical set instead of like a kick slide step for your O-lines? Have you always done vertical sets?
Well, to me, that's 2 different things. The vertical set is our scheme. The technique for getting back there is a drop back. All right, you can vertical set and kick slide to it. Plenty of teams do that. So 2 different topics there.
Okay.
For us, we call it. If you see us teach our scheme, most of us call it a big on big man scheme, but it really turns into a zone scheme pretty fast. All right, so that's really what we do. When we say vertical set, what we really talk about is we want to get back pretty quick and kind of let all the games happen and then block our area. So it really turns into a zone protection, sort of. So that's really all we're saying when we talk about the vertical set deal. And that's adapted a little bit over the year. Now, as far as the vertical set, yes, that's all I've ever taught. And some of that's because that's what I was taught first. So you kind of, what you were taught first, that's kind of what you believe in. It's kind of what you've lived with. But Guy Morris taught that at Valdosta State when I was there, and when Leach took over O-line, he kept it going, and so we've kind of kept it going ever since then. And when Guy first taught it, it made perfect sense. You may have heard the story before, but it really does make sense. He talked about when he was playing, he played like, I think 16 years in the NFL. And he said he was sitting in practice one day. He was a grizzled veteran. So he was kind of literally sitting at practice one day, and he's watching O-linemen work on kick slide over here in one drill. And he's watching DBs backpedal over here on another drill. And he said, okay, those DBs over there are the experts in football of moving backwards. They do it better than anybody else. So why are we not doing it like they do it? We're trying to come up here and do this weird step that's unathletic. We're trying to kick ourselves back, pull back 300. Well, back then it wasn't 300, but trying to kick back heavy guys and drag a foot and be athletic, where the guys over here that are athletes, they're just running backwards. And then when the guy gets close, they sink their hips and become athletes. And he said that made a lot more sense to him. So he started teaching it that way. We're just going to run backwards like DBs would and be athletes. And that's kind of where it evolved from. Now, there's obviously a lot more details to that, but that made sense to me. I just think it's a little bit easier to teach, especially to guys that are not Division I or, NFL level athletes. If you got a guy that is, 6'3", 6'4", 300, can run a 5'1", he probably can kick, slide, and be fine. But if you got that guy that is, 5'10", 260, him really kick sliding and be able to adjust into a better athlete in space, that's not realistic. But I can teach him to run backwards, stay on an inside number. When a guy gets close, sink your hips and be, get leverage and get the lock on, and now do the dance. And just do that for 3 to 4 seconds. I can teach a guy to do that if he's a lesser athlete. And that's kind of the evolution of how that worked.
And I love that because it's real, it's realistic, right?
Yes.
You can say in any scenario, this is how you should do it, and this is the right way to do it, and fine. You write that on paper. I pick up that paper, I read it, and I go try to do it. But it's not always realistic, and it's not always applicable. So,
yes.
2-step vertical drop where they get back, they get that distance, and you could actually have a second to breathe and understand what's going on before you have the impact. I think that's great.
Yeah, because one of the things I try and always tell young O-line coaches, O-linemen do not determine when contact point is. That's a fallacy. We don't. The D-lineman does. He decides when they're going to hit us. If he's really, really fast, it happens in 1 or 2 steps. If he's a little bit slower or he's a little bit wider, we might get 4 steps in. But he decides when that contact happens, not us. So we got to learn to get inside of him the best we can, make sure he doesn't get to our quarterback. And then there's some drills we can do to teach him what to do when that happens. But it's just about getting your body in the right spot, just like you do in basketball. It's all about body position and then being a big guy. That's the one advantage you have is generally you are a bigger guy, create a lower sense of gravity, make that guy have to go around you or over you. That should take 5 seconds. And generally it does. I mean, generally we give up single-digit sacks on a year on teams that throw the ball 35, 40 times a game. Love it.
Yeah, and, I think that's just so important. And, at the youth level, I saw 5-man fronts, which, there's definitely nuances to youth and middle school versus high school versus college. Mm-hmm. To me, they're pretty different games to some extent.
Doubt.
So we see 5-man fronts and even 6-man fronts. So when we talk about big on big, I mean, we came into the year last year saying, I'm going to half slide to the backside, but it's big on big, right? So it's more about, can you teach these kids to stand up and learn enough technique to get run over slowly, like Coach Matt said earlier.
Absolutely.
So I love that. And honestly, we had this debate last year, and it was driving me nuts. And Coach Rainsford, if you're on, don't get mad at me. He was my O-line coach last year for a 14U 8th grade team, and we had this debate. So we were a split back veer team. Traditionally, we feed De La Salle out here in Northern California, so there's a lot of split back veer ties here. And so obviously that's just coming straight at you, hand in the dirt, and we're blasting off. So we switched to air raid. And so mentality-wise, and I think this is the case with a lot of just youth coaches that never played at the next level where the pass pro is a big piece of it, is just like mentally not being able to get used to the idea that you're going to retreat for a reason, instead of, like, it got to a point where we were considering firing out on pass pro to make the first impact and then getting into the scuffle. And what I found was, if you missed, it was there to you in less than 2 seconds, right? So I really love the idea of getting that distance back, giving yourself a second to see what they're doing, then get run over for a second, and then they need another second to get to the quarterback. And that's worst case, right? Like, as long as you just don't whiff, it's 3 seconds if you do it right.
That's the whole key.
I think another thing too is, I think Shane will agree with me. We've always heard Coach Mummy, how Mummy say this is, you have scheme like big on big. You have man teams that turn into zone or zone teams that turn into man. That is a true statement as far as schemes go. The thing about the vertical set, what Shane's talking about is it allows all those games and stunts to happen in front of you. So that's why we like getting back further. I think at youth, that's important because they're getting back. But I'll say this, if you guys, especially at the youth level, if you want to be a coordinator, you have to understand pass pro. If not, you're going to be in a world of hurt. I know we like to draw up, mesh and this guy doing this and settle a noose drill. But Shane, you can give me an amen on this or not. Unless you really, truly understand pass protection, you will always struggle being a coordinator.
Yeah, I think you have to understand. I think at either side of the ball, if you don't understand the box, then you're not really a coordinator. If you're an O coordinator and you can draw up all the pretty stuff in the world, it's not going to work if you can't block it. If you don't understand why the run plays are supposed to work, then you're just calling plays randomly in the run game. If you don't understand how the run fits are supposed to work on defense, then you're pretending. So yeah, obviously that's 100% true. Nap. Now one thing I do think, and you brought it up, Coach, with the 5-man front. I think that is another reason why I like how I teach the system on pass pro, because I don't do the counting system. We sort of identify fronts and adjust a little bit based on that. But I have a firm belief that even at the high school level, 9 times out of 10, guys are going to block the dude that's on them. I mean, that's what's going to happen. So we kind of base our system on that. And at your level, at the youth level, middle school level, if there's a dude in front of him, that's who they're blocking. So you better adjust from that. And I think that generally takes care of itself. So it really is all about, getting that good contact point. I think I saw one of the questions about how do you set up before contact? That's a good point. One thing, we drill the punch obviously a lot. We do a drill where we kind of slide back and forth on a 5-man sled to drill that deal, and we do another set drill for it. But one of the things we really talk about a lot, at least I do with my guys, we're not a big punch team where we try and punch and literally stop a guy. I think that's another one of those myths in football. That does not happen at any level ever. We're trying to do at that contact point is we learn to time it up to where before we get contact, we want to sink our hips a little bit so that our eyes are below their eyes. And we want to make sure when we get our hands in, we want to be inside the framework of their body, inside of their hands. And we want to get a good, firm contact and literally want to grab their chest plate, thumbs up, to where our elbows are down and tight into our body, where we're creating a strong pivot with our forearms into our body. Now we can use our body to help control them. That's kind of the contact point we're trying to get to. It is not we're trying to blow them up. We're not trying to lift them off the ground. All we're trying to do is to get to this position and get them locked to right there. And then all we're trying to do is stay in front of them for as long as we can at that point.
100%.
Do you feel like that gives you less holds too?
Do what now?
Do you feel like that gives you less holding calls too, where you're locking them?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. We always tell our kids the only way you get a holding call is with your feet, not with your hands. The only time, if you get a holding call, is because your feet went dead and your hands got outside the framework of your body. All right. Now, if you grab out here, yes. But if your hands are where they're supposed to be and you're moving with him, you'll never get a holding call. It'll never happen.
Yeah. No, I love that. And that's grab the steering wheel, Shaquille. I like that. That's basically it. Do you guys have a tag for the what do you call the inside the plate? You guys have anything?
We say the same thing. That's what we call it. We say we gotta get that. We tell them the lock. We tell them get the lock and drive the car.
Love it. Okay, cool. Very cool. 2-point first 3-point. Are you guys both? This is for both you guys. You guys both in a 2-point the entire game, no matter what you're calling the O line.
I've done it both ways. Where I'm at now, we're actually in a 3-point stance. We went back to a 3-point stance last year, and it's worked out fine. I've been all 2-point. I've been all 3-point. I've been interior 3 in a 3 and the tackles in a 2. I've been, 1 tackle in a 3, 1 tackle in a 2. I've kind of experimented with it all. I think my preference is is honestly the guard, center guard, and a 3, and the tackles in a 2. I think just because I do want to be good in the run game, and I do think it gives you a slight advantage, on the down blocks in a 3-point stance, slight. But I do think in a 2-point stance, it is easier to pass pro.
Yeah, we run GT counter, so that's the only thing I was this year thinking I want to go full 2-point because I feel like we're going to be passing the ball 70% of the time. But GT counter is my baby, and we run power. It's all gap schemes. So, I do love the fact that they, firing off, taking out that down interior, defensive line.
I do think it helps a little bit. The one thing we did when I was in a 2-point stance, we really focused hard on getting that back flat, even in a 2-point stance. And it really is the same thing. Literally, unless you are one of those teams that really does grab the dirt, which if you do that, you're going to be bad in pass pro. If you barely put your hand down, so like the NFL guys try and do, so they can do both, it's really no different than not putting your hand down if you get in a good stance.
Right.
If you put your weight on your hand, you're going to suck in pass pro. There's no way to do it. If you get in a good stance, it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
And someone on Facebook asked a great question. It doesn't say their name, but and I'm going to ask you because I hear from high school coaches, they kind of smirk about it, and their idea is you guys should just be doing the basics. Don't worry about this detailed technique. And I'm curious from high school coaches' perspective, how you feel about do you have a strong feeling about these young kids before they get to it should be only in a 3-point to learn X, Y, or Z, or only in a 2-point to learn X, Y, Z? Do you have from a high school coach perspective that's getting these kids, do you care either way?
I kind of go back and forth on it, but I do think it's probably better for them in the long run to be in a 3-point stance, at least some, just to see if they're flexible enough to get in a 3-point stance and get out of a 3-point stance. I know that sounds crazy, but if they're not athletic enough to get into a 3-point stance, I kind of want to see that. That's kind of me as a high school evaluating a kid kind of a deal. But I want the kid to have fun. I'll be honest with you. I think our game's under attack a little bit. Numbers are down all over the country. My biggest thing is, I want guys to get out there and play and have fun. And if they go out there and get in a 2-point stance and we can get better at throwing the ball to middle school and we get numbers up and they enjoy it and we get more kids playing high school, I'm all for it. Let's do whatever it takes to get some more kids out there playing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Coach Snap?
I agree the same thing, man. I think we cannot lose focus on just at that level making them love the game of football. Besides, everybody loves X's and O's, and Shane and I, we can talk for hours and hours. We're in this to develop men. You know what I'm saying? Or good humans, good citizens. And you get that love when you're young, And there's a lot and I don't know about you guys, but where I live in West Virginia, we got a lot of kids that live with grandparents. They don't have dads in the homes. And a lot of times with coaches, that's who we are. We're male role models. So as long as we're getting them loving what they're doing, they can come to us. We can teach them the scheme. That's
I was going to say. Yeah, and it's still a line from Leach. If I'm not good enough to teach a guy a 3-point stance in high school, I'm probably not worth my money, and I'm well paid.
Yeah. Awesome. No, that's cool. I appreciate you guys' transparency on that, and literally that's the whole reason I'm even doing what we're doing. We're just trying to get the numbers back up. There's high schools around us that don't have freshman teams. It's ridiculous. It's such a sad state right now, and I do think air raid or just spreading the ball around at this level could be a real conduit to that. So that's why I appreciate you guys coming on so much to show that these youth coaches, that the high school coaches care. We all love the game. They might be different from level to level, but it's all football. And what we can do while we're in it is, help kids and help each other. So
no, I think this sport is special. I think we all do. I think that this sport teaches you some things that our young men need in life. There's something about getting hit in the mouth, getting knocked to the ground, having to get back up that they just don't see very often in life anymore. There's just not very many places that they can get that anymore other than that football field. And we're fast losing that too. And, you know, it's one of the last bastions of hope out there, I think. And whatever we can do to grow this thing, we need to. And, you know, like you said, I think numbers are down. And I wish we could do more 7-on-7 stuff and flag football stuff at the lower levels, you know, to increase numbers there. Because, you know, I know people laugh, you know, and a lot of the older guys and the last generation kind of scoff at it. But there's a lot of mamas out there who will not let their youngins play football because of those. Oh, I saw the movie. I saw that movie with, you know, about the concussions, you know, and they're not letting their kids play. And if we could just get them out there and not worry about trying to kill them at, you know, they're at 7, 8 years old and we're worried about trying to knock the stuffing out of them. Can we just get them out there playing right now? That would be great. And just get them a part of it, and let's get them through this thing, and let's get them where they enjoy it and love it, and let's teach them. Let's get them to where they're with you guys and where they're with everyone. And there's just so much for them in this game, and they're missing it.
Right.
And I know we're all worried about what's going to happen this year, because who knows what's going to happen to the middle school and the JV and 9th grade programs with the social distancing and all that now.
Yeah, well, out here where we live in Northern California, not to go down that rabbit hole, they might not even let the high schools play in our little pocket. And there's places in California letting them play, so it's crazy. So yeah,
like
thank you, Coach, for that
hole.
perspective. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're still preseason now. We've kind of figured out: do I want to do a vertical drop or not? Most air raid teams will. I'm trying to convince you guys out there to do it. I do think that's a great way to get your own linemen some space. Talked about 2 or 3 point stance. Now we're going to get to camp, and we need to arm ourselves with some drills, okay? And we need to come to practice ready to get our O-line working. So, you know, I don't want you to go into all your bag of tricks. That's why we're going to put this Mesh 92 group link in the chat afterward, so people can go see at a deep dive all the different everyday drills. But I would love to talk a little bit about just maybe a few of your favorite everyday drills that every day your O-line is doing X, Y, or Z to make sure they're getting better at pass pro in particular. I think would be a great place to focus right now. If that's okay.
All right.
You can grab.
Well, I'm gonna start out with. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen if you don't mind.
Go for it. Take it.
All right.
While he's doing that, Kerry, that is so true. I mean, I used to kind of shy away from saying our game was under attack because I don't want to be dramatic. But honestly, I think it's pretty clear that that's been happening. So it's on us to bring it back, guys. All right, here we go.
All right. So this is that shuffle drill I was talking about, and you know, these guys are not doing it perfect, but this is one of the first drills we do every day. And this is where we time up our punch. Now, we want to be in a good stance. And again, these guys are not perfect. We went out. We actually had been out for a long time. We went out there to film these drills for our clinic talks. This was probably about 10 years ago. But we want their hands to be chest level, really already in a good position. We tell them we want to be able to hold a softball, thumbs up. And we want them to punch center mass of that right there, like they were reaching out to grab their chest plate. And then recoil. We want a good punch. They should hear us pop that thing, recoil their hands, and then shuffle down. And when they're shuffling, and this is the big key to this deal, when they move left, their left foot should take them. We don't ever want to do a heel click. We don't ever want their feet to come together. Just like any sport, if your feet come together, you're dead. All right. If you're in basketball, that's what good basketball players look for. When they're trying to move you, they're trying to get your feet together so they can cross you up, or they can drive by you. All they're looking for is your feet to come together. It's the same thing. So I'm watching his feet. When he moves left, he should be moving with his left foot. When he moves right, he should be moving with his right foot. Now, he's dropping his hands to his hips. I don't like that. All right, so we do this. We punch, we shuffle back. That way we're moving both directions. Then we skip one. And again, you see it a little bit better there. I don't want them dropping their hands. I want their hands to stay close. All right, I don't want any lift. This was a freshman right here, and you see how much he's lifting. We want a good straight punch. All right,
Look like a
But
freshman.
we do this both directions every day, and usually we have a 5-man sled. But at South Johnston, we were a little poor. We only had a 4-man sled. We had a 4-man with a broke one. All right. So then you see us going the other direction. And my man here, he's fired up. He's trying to punch and go super fast. All drills work to perfection. Get it perfect, then get it fast. Get it perfect, then get it fast. Now you see he's a little bit out of shape. His feet are all bad. He's reaching. We don't ever want him reaching. All right. The whole key is punch straight. All right. So that's a big deal right there. That drill. That's where we get their feet moving fast. That's where we're teaching them how to move side to side. All right, and how to get a good punch. And then here's how we teach them to drive, how to get that lock. All right, so right here, all right, we call this inside hands. All right, and all we're doing, we're trying to get them in a good pass pro position. All right, and all we're trying to do is fight to get their hands in the inside position. All right, and if we're not in good inside, we'll shoot the hands. Now, this is probably a little tough for real young kids, but with them, I'd probably get them and just teach them what the good position is, and then have them shoot one hand. Once the kids get older, then we'll start teaching them to fight. Now, this is 2 good players right here. This kid, he was a D1 kid or 1AA. He went to Georgia Southern. This was his older brother. He was not a college player, but he was pretty good. So you see his hands are where we want them. He's got a good inside lock right here. His hands are on the inside. So his brother is going to try and take his hands, shoot them back inside. All right. If you can't get him inside, you're not ever going to give it up. You see how his brother would not let him take it. He's not just giving it up. He's got to fight to take it. Now, we don't want to lose he lost his stance here. We don't ever want to do that. So those are some of the coaching points we're looking for. We want to stay in a sit down, in a good seated position. We want those feet to stay in a good movement. When he did lose it, he sat. Now, he reshot his hands back inside to get back into his inside position. And all we're trying to do, and we want to get a good lock. See, right here, he's got his fingertips in there, but he don't have a good lock. But he's reshooting that hand. All right, now, when they get bad at this drill, they'll just start windmilling. The whole deal is get the lock and don't give it up. When you get a real good player, sometimes you can't get their hands off. All right, but we do that drill first. So we teach them where to put the hands at, and then we teach them how to drive the car. Now we get the lock, and we do what's called opposite pressure. Inside hands.
Inside hands. That's what it's. Okay, good. Sorry.
Yep. All right. So this one is where we call it opposite pressure, and it's exactly what it sounds. All right. So if a guy were to move to my right with my right hand, I would actually push it out. With my left hand, I would pull. I'm not going to let him take my shoulder with his shoulder square. I'm going to make him kind of offset just a little bit where I don't have to take on his full momentum. And at the same time, I'm going to shuffle my feet so that I can stay square. So now we're going to incorporate those other drills. Now we're shuffling. We've got the lock. We're keeping our inside hands, but now we're going to drive the car with it. So now, boom. Now we're shuffling. You see he's locked it out. Now when that guy changes positions, he's locked it out with his other hand. So right here, when this guy changes, this hand's going to lock out. Right there. Now he locked this one out. He's pulling with the other one, so that guy doesn't have a clean release up through his shoulder. That's what the D-line wants. They want to create space and rip through your shoulder. We're not going to let him do that to us. And we're going to keep moving so that he's got to go through my whole body and not just my shoulder. Again, what's our one advantage? We're big, right? We're not fast. A lot of times we're not really as strong against those superior athletes in high school. Sometimes we are because we work hard, but a lot of times, we're facing guys who are going to Auburn and Alabama out there at 6 technique. That guy's an animal. Well, my guy's not going nowhere, but he can block him because he can stay in front of him just by moving his feet. So now we're doing that shuffle drill you see right there, he cannot get to that shoulder. That's all he's trying to do. Now, if he were to redirect, bam. Now we redirect. Now he popped that other hand out, and now he's about to give up. And all that is, that's just driving the car. All that is shuffling your feet and staying in front for 4 seconds. And those little drills together right there, anybody can learn to pass pro. You don't got to be a superior athlete. And you see right there, that would be a holding call. He let him get to his shoulder. He didn't shuffle his feet enough, he let him get to the shoulder a little bit. And that's why he got to that position right there. Yes, sir.
I've heard you say that this drill right here is probably the best drill that you do, correct?
Absolutely. For pass pro, yes. Yeah. If I can only do one pass pro drill, this would be it. Because because you were talking about, Matt, you were talking about firing off. You could fire off on O-line. We call that a firm protection. We do that too. When we firm protection, we're still going to do this. We're just going to fire off and then do the same thing. All right. Yeah. Now, again, this cat, he was one of those guys I had to break his heart. He was a walk linebacker for us. This was his first year of switching over to play tackle for us. You know, it broke his heart. I mean, he did not want to do it. He cried in my office. I mean, broke my heart. But he was not going to play for us. He was not good enough to play linebacker for us. He came over there. He worked his tail off. He got strong as hell. I mean, I love that kid. I mean, he started for me for 2 years. It was an all conference kind of kid as a senior. I mean, helped lead us to, just won a bunch of ball games because of him, because of how hard he worked. I mean, look at him. That kid right there weighs like 215 right here. And he's blocking a guy that's probably about 245, 250. And is 2 years older than him. Look at that. Just by shifting his body weight, locking that hand out. Look at that. I mean, that's just want to. And that's stuff you can teach just by drilling that thing. Now, I'm kind of going quick, but you kind of see how the drill's set up. As a coach, you stand behind. Now, when I first teach this drill, I only give one direction. So we lock them up, all right, and I give them one direction. So I tell them, all right, you go to the right. Again, I'm pointing so my O-lineman doesn't know. And I generally have 3 guys going, all right? So I'll have a group of 3 going, all right? So they'll all go the same direction, you know, and we'll do that until they get good at it. You know, that might be a week, could be 3 weeks, whatever it takes to where I feel comfortable. Then I'll slowly go, okay, you go one direction. Then I'll start giving, let me get out of here now. All right, so then I'll start giving, okay, one direction and, okay, now flip, okay? Then once we get good at doing that, then I'll start flipping them faster. All right. Then once we get good at that, you know, it might be game 7, then I'll just start saying, all right, just try and beat them. Do whatever you want. All right, give it to them. You know, I might give them a jet, give them a tornado, you know, we'll start doing everything. All right. But when it starts out, it's, you know, go right, you know, go left, you know, and when we first start doing it, we really are taking a shoulder. You know, you really don't want them trying to just outrun them to the edge. But it happens just because we lock them out so hard, they can't take the shoulder. They'll start widening out just naturally because it's hard. I mean, if you get anyone in this position, it's almost impossible to get through their shoulder. Sorry, man. You guys, when you fired up, start talking about OL stuff.
No. This drill, honestly, like when I saw it the first time you showed this, I saw it for the first time about a month ago. But I mean, just that motion, and it some things just resonate with you. For me, Patrick Taylor's Olverts, that resonate with me. I do his style of all. This is like, if you can coach these kids up to do it, and it's such an easy thing to push and pull with their body weight, and just it's a natural thing that your body's already doing. If you can just lock in and just give me 2 more seconds. I mean, great. I mean, even if it's perfect and you give me 5, but like just that wrestling match right there, and you've trained them to keep their hands in, so it's not obvious. I mean, if you can get good at that, honestly, there's no other reason that people shouldn't be running this style of, well, just doing passing and pass pro at any level. I honestly,
that's right.
This drill is amazing.
Makes it simple. Makes it work. Makes it where you can teach it to guys that aren't quite as good an athlete. And that's the whole key. Because again, you know, I wish that I had guys every year that were going to college. I wish I did. You know, I've had some good linemen. I mean, we've been blessed here the last few years to have some really good linemen. But we've also been, you know, had some guys that weren't. I mean, that were not college level. And we've been blessed to have some really, really good kids. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, we're seeing really, really good D linemen in our conference. And, you know, we've had, I don't know, I think three of our linemen have gone on, you know, to play scholarship ball. We've had some that have gone to play, you know, D3 stuff, but we've had 3 scholarship linemen over the last 6 years. And believe me, we've seen a hell of a lot more scholarship defensive linemen than that. But, you know, because they get the best athletes.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to your point.
I work for an offensive head coach, man. We're going to score 45 points a game every game. That's our goal. If we don't score 45, we're going to be mad as hell. But we get the first pick at quarterback, first pick at tailback. They get about the next 20 picks, and then we start going. It's crazy.
Do you guys literally do that, like a draft? Get on the draft board and draft players to your side of the ball?
Well, I mean, it's pretty close. I mean, we don't. The draft being the head coach says, "Here's my quarterback and here's my tailback. All the rest go to defense." But yeah, no, we get the best players are going to play defense for us. I mean, they are. We might snatch a receiver here and there if he's not a hitter. You know, if he doesn't have the defensive mentality, he's going to come to offense. But other than that, yeah, our best players are going to play on defense.
Beautiful. And you guys both two platoon then, huh? You guys maybe a couple guys that go both ways? A few?
For us, very, very rare. Very, very rare.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I love it. Yeah, I mean, this drill just reinforces, just like you were talking about, like our in a perfect world, would an O-line be able to get back set and then punch a D lineman in the chest and knock him to the ground or backwards? Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. You know, let's teach them actual things that they can get into a dogfight with and be able to use and give me my extra 2 seconds and everyone's going to be happy at the end of the day. So yeah, let's just be realistic with this stuff.
I learned 2 lessons very early on when I was coaching. I was I think my first year as a student assistant at Valdosta State, we had I think it was Dan Gladden came up from Florida State to speak at our clinic.
Dan Gladden, the baseball player?
No, I think it was Dan Gladden. He was like the linebacker coach. He was the linebacker coach at Florida State. And he came in, he started showing some video, and he started talking about how we're going to take our guy and we're going to forklift, we're going to forklift the O lineman and get him out of here. And he showed some video of them, taking some guy and picking him up about 6 inches off the ground and throwing him. And I was like, yeah, we ain't got none of them guys. Yeah, we're not doing any of that. Nothing else he was going to show off. Yeah, nothing else he showed on film was going to matter because we weren't doing any of that. So I was like, okay, that's great if you got that dude. If your guy's fixing to be the first pick in the NFL draft, that was a good film to watch. So that didn't matter to me. And then later on, I went to Georgia's camp, and I was watching their O-line coach, Chris Selfo, who I thought was amazing. Chris Selfo is one of the best O-line coaches in America. And I was watching their drills, and I was watching them. And again, they were like number 4 in the country, I think, that year. So they were very, very, very good. And that's when I was watching them, and they had no shot of punching their guys and stopping them. No shot. And I was like, okay, these are SEC O-linemen, and they cannot punch their D linemen and stop their drive. It's just not going to happen. That's not realistic. No, so I said that's not real. I got to figure out a better way.
Totally. And I love this. I love it so much. That's so great. Okay, cool. So we have a couple of everyday drills we're going to go to battle with when we start camp. And you literally are, I mean, I would do those. I'm going to do those drills every single day and add those in. I'm sure you guys do the typical, do running over boards and stuff for drive blocking and run blocking, all those good things. So those are pretty standard things. What do you guys do? So we have an inside pass period that I learned at Nevada that I just loved. I didn't love it there because I was a linebacker or running back having to pick up freaking linebackers and strong safeties in the A gap. But I love it because we're literally live action and from tackle to tackle with the quarterback and running back and linebackers. What do you guys have like pass pro drills? Is it usually one-on-one, or do you do like an inside pass where it's all tackle to tackle, like an inside run drill, or what do you guys do as far as like big pass pro drills where the team gets together like that? Do you guys do that, tackle to tackle, anything like that?
Yes. Yes, every day.
Okay. Cool.
I think you have to. If you're a throwing team, if you're a predominantly run team, then you got to do it sometimes. But if you're a throwing team, I think you have to do one-on-one pass pro every day with the line lined up like you're saying. We're going to line up all 5 linemen. We're going to put a D lineman or a linebacker in front of every single one of those guys, and we're going to put the running backs in that drill every now and again too. and we're gonna shotgun those reps as fast as we can go. So we're gonna send a 6 technique, and our tackle is gonna pass set and drop and block that dude, and we're gonna have a target for that guy to go block. Go sack, and a target for our tackle to protect. And he's either gonna sack that guy, he's gonna knock the ball down, whatever, or we're gonna protect it. I'm gonna blow the whistle, and bam, the guard and the next guy are gonna go. Then the center and the next guy, and we're gonna go all the way down. Then we're gonna go through again, and then the 2s are gonna jump in there. And we're gonna spend 10 minutes every day. And we're going to try and get at least 2 reps for the starters and 1 rep for the backups, preferably 3 and 2 if we can get it done as fast as we can. And we're going to do that every day for 10 minutes. And again, if you're a passing team, I think you got to do that every day, or you're pretending. Because if you can't block one-on-one, you're not ever going to block a scheme. It doesn't matter what you draw up. And then we're going to spend 5 minutes a day going through unit pass pro. And sometimes that's with a defensive line or the defense scouting for us. But a lot of times that's also just self-serve where we're walking through whatever the other team's going to do to us. But we're going to spend 5 minutes every day at least walking through or blocking up blitzes that we expect to see from the other team.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, it's just so important to and I try to tell O-line coaches, and I did a spot on youth football online the other day, and that's their biggest concern, all these youth coaches, we can't do it, pass pro. And I was telling them before that, my whole spiel about, hey, getting quarterbacks to throw and receivers to catch on, consistently, you guys aren't great at it because you've never practiced it like the way we practice it. It's just reps, reps, throws. Like we do routes on air and pat and go, or routes on air, and there's 5 people throwing to 5 receivers every time. Well, it's no different with O-line play, right? Like there's probably 3 or 4 periods in our day where they are practicing pass pro, and a couple periods every day where they're practicing, running, inside run, and those type of things. So, it's not that they can't do it. It's just that you've never really focused on drilling it that way. So just a message out there to those coaches. It really does take just practicing the right way. And we've tried to give out some practice plans to these coaches, and Coach Salas, I got it from him. Coach Salas is joining us. How's it going, Coach?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
Good. How was the coach?
My presentation was easy. I was going to say we do everything like Shane says to do it.
Well, no, I'm just trying to give these guys some flavor from air raid O-line coaches. I know it's a different game, and youth is a little different than high school. But if they can hear from you guys what you guys do and just have more of you guys talking about it, I think it'll give everyone the confidence. I think there's a lot of just a lot of coaches that are just a little scared to take that next step, and O-line is a big part of that. So I wanted to bring you guys in and just put their minds at ease.
Well, you guys, the big drill that we stole from where Shane is now is the bag period, and it's really it's a run drill. But we've been sold on that bag period where it's basically what he was talking about with that with the 5-minute walkthrough on the blitz and stunt period, is having them run through your run game versus the bags and showing them all the different looks that you could see. And in 5 minutes, I mean, you can rep the crap out of your run game. And that was something I stole from, down there where he is now. Then all the pass pro stuff, we do it exactly like whatever Shane says, that's what we do.
I love it. Okay, so one-on-one drills. So we're warming up and doing our indie. We're warming up and doing our indie drills, and we're getting our feet right and practicing our push and pull. And then we start getting into the practice, and we're doing one-on-ones. So the type of one-on-ones, I just want to reiterate for everybody. You can get in inside pass is what we call it. What do you guys call that, Shane, where it's tackle to tackle pass pro?
We call it one-on-one.
Okay, so then you're firing off kind of one-on-one or 2 at a time, however you want to do it. Do you ever just get where it's D-line versus O-line one-on-one and everyone's just like watching and it's kind of a competitive period? Do you guys do that type of one-on-one as well? Or is that kind of I don't know, some coaches think it's a waste of time to not just have it all together and just working it all at one time?
No, that's no, what you just said kind of is what it looks like.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
And what we In fact, that's one of the things I always kind of caution against is sometimes it gets too competitive and guys kind of get distracted and we don't get enough reps in. That's why I always tell people the offensive coach kind of has to take charge of that period, because one coach kind of has to run it or you don't get enough reps in. And generally the offensive guys kind of want to make sure they got more guys. So they're usually the ones that kind of rep it out. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick again, and I'll draw it up for you.
Please do.
If you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Just to kind of show you how we look at it. All right, so basically, if we drew the field, up here, our receivers and our quarterbacks and stuff, they're up here going against our DBs. This is when we're throwing the ball. We're doing our 7-on-7 at the top of the field up here. So they're somewhere up there. It could be the 30 going in, the 40 going in, or whatever. But on half the field, we're doing our 7-on-7 up here. And then on this side of the field, we'll have the ball and we'll have our 5 linemen. And then I'll have either a stand-up dummy or a coach, someone where they're going to have a target at 5 yards or 6 yards. And then we're going to put our defensive guys, and I don't care where they put them. Sometimes I'll kind of tell them, hey, I want them on an outside technique. If they're not moving enough for me, I'll move them around. But typically we'll do it with D linemen, but we'll also let them put a linebacker in there every now and again. All right, but we'll shotgun the reps. So they're down there throwing, and this is a 10-minute period. So they're down there throwing, and we're going as fast as we can. He's going one-on-one, and all the extra guys, all the defensive guys are on one side. All the offensive guys are on this side of the line of scrimmage. And they're all hooting and hollering and raising hell and clapping. And, when we kick their tail, all the offensive guys are clapping and yelling and screaming. And the defensive guys are, they're talking trash about the next rep and vice versa when they kick our tail. But they're going at it. And as soon as it's done, they're jogging back. And then these two are going. We're not waiting for them to line back up. They're already lined up. So, it's literally whistle blows, set, go. And they're going. And as soon as they're done, they're already lined back up. They're jogging back, say go, and they're going. And so, we're literally going as fast as we can go and getting them reps in 2 at a time. Bam, bam, bam. Then we go back again. And so after he gets his second rep, his backup goes in. Now, I'm not controlling the rotation on D-line. I don't care what the hell they do. But they're getting 2 reps on O-line, then the next guy goes in. All right. And like I said, we try and go, if we're really good at it, we're getting 3 reps with the 1s, 2 reps with the 2s. If we're not quite good enough, we're going 2 and 1. All right. And then, at the high school level, I've usually got the same thing going on behind me with the JVO line. So it's exactly what you're saying. We literally are lined up like a regular pass pro. And then we're going at it 2 at a time with everybody cheering and hollering.
Love it. Great. Thank you for that. Okay, cool. That is, guys, do you ever go with all 5 D linemen at once? We do that a little bit to let the quarterback sit in the pocket, kind of get used to the feeling of kind of being in the pocket and let them throw out of there a little bit. Do you ever? I know it's not optimal for coaching because it's hard to see all 5 positions blocking.
No, we will. Every now and again, I'll bring the I'll let the 2 quarterback might be throwing. I'll send the 1 quarterback down there and make him move in the pocket. Or every now and again, not a whole lot. But if I think my quarterback needs it, we'll actually combine the 2 drills. We'll actually come down there and we'll actually do we'll call it 7-on-7, but we'll actually do unit pass pro. It'll basically look like team, but we'll actually do a unit pass pro 7-on-7 at the same time, just for that reason, just to make the quarterback, move around, make him have to move his feet, make him have to sift through all the trash. I don't like doing it a lot. Because we get the same thing in team, but it basically turns into a 10-minute pass-only team situation. But we will do that occasionally.
Gotcha. And that actually segues to my next question. And I'm super curious how you guys feel about this because I believe you guys all do the bandit drill. I asked Coach Knapp already. I know Salas does. I've tried to pick his brain on it before. Coach Shane, I'm assuming you do. You guys do the bandit drill as well at the end of practice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we didn't do the bandit drill all last year. We did team in the traditional sense. I just wasn't ready for the bandit drill yet. I didn't really understand it completely, and we started to do it toward the end. But just in that last like 30 minutes of team or bandit, whatever you want to call it, I started to get frustrated because I felt like the O-line wasn't like getting as much work as they could. I felt like it was going so fast. They weren't like really, getting in the work that, I felt like it was almost a waste of 30 minutes. And maybe that's just the way we were coaching it. We're just going so fast, running the plays. I really wanted those O-linemen to get the work. So came a time where I put them separate and they did it on the other side of the field. They actually did pass pro, the inside pass drill, so they could actually get like really meaningful reps versus being in that quick bandit drill where, we're up and we're throwing or running the next thing and we're throwing it again and running a play quickly. Do you guys have any, and this is kind of for the group, I guess.
Well, unless you're doing something, sounds like you're doing something a little different than I am. Now, for me, okay. The bandit drill is like 5 minutes. That's literally a game-winning drive drill. So we put the ball on like the 5-yard line and we run about 10 plays maybe. I mean, it's literally, we have a script, a bandit script. We run down the field as fast as we can and either throw a touchdown pass, Hail Mary, or kick a field goal, and we're done. That's it. Okay.
See, I'm still trying to get my head around it. So let's just talk about it in the terms of team in the traditional sense. I think most of these middle school and youth coaches kind of have a team period at the end where we run offense against defense, and it's typically, you're running through your plays.
Right. Well, yeah, we just call that team. We just script that out, and we just have a regular team period. And for us, that's either a 10-minute period or a 15-minute period, but we script that out and draw up our various plays versus various defenses and run through our script. But our bandit drive is literally a game-winning drive. So that's a 2-minute game-winning drive. So we'll do our team deal. We'll get a sip of water. We'll give them a little bit of a water break, and then we will actually, just like we would on a game, because usually a bandit drives after a change of possession. We'll huddle them up on the sideline and say, okay, this is a bandit drive. We got to have a field goal to tie or a field goal to win. We got to have whatever. Tell them the situation. Tell them the first play. Bam, they run out there, set up, and go. And then we're on the clock, and whatever the game situation is, we're going to go down and perform the bandit drive. And I mean, that's it. And we either get it done or we don't get it done.
I think part of your struggle, Matt, is you said 30 minutes worth.
Yeah.
And a team period can't be that long. You lose. Yeah. So I'm like, we go 10. We don't go 15. And that is 10 minutes versus a scout defense where they're lined up like the team you're going to see. And we don't even have them go hard. I mean, if they'll get lined up and take 2 or 3 steps, we're good because we want to go fast, but we just want them lined up as much like the next team as they can be. And then what you're calling, me and Shane are much more on the same page on bandit is we're practicing a 2-minute situation. For us, we don't always do a 2-minute situation. We call it competition period. And some days it'll be a 2-minute drive. Some days it might be 3 third and 10s. Some days it might be a goal line period. But that's a competition period where there's a winner and a loser, and we keep track of that. And that's a high energy, coaches are excited, kids are excited period. And to me, that it's one of the key periods because situations, it's just like basketball. The better your kids handle situations, the better they're going to handle them in a game. So you actually get to practice almost live situations in practice, and you don't get that boredom that you're talking about. When you're having a 30-minute team period, coaches are getting bored. So
well, that's probably it.
Team period smaller and actually line up, the opposing defense, and then have competition periods where you're practicing situations. I think you'll get better results. You'll be happier with what you're getting.
And I do it the same way that Joe and Shane are talking about. I do my bandit for me would be a situational, like 2-minute, we're trying to win the game drive, and I think that's why your script, I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, Matt, when we're doing that team stuff, and I'm Joe, Shane, y'all tell me if this is how you do it. That's where you're more on your script. The bandit is more like we're trying to drive real quick and score, like in a 2-minute situation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's why I'm probably.
There might be you might have a 2-minute script that you're running those plays, but you're competing, you're trying to win. And for us, the defense is competing and they're trying to win. They're preserving a lead and we're trying to take the lead. So it's a very, for us, it's a big competition period to make it, to get more out, to squeeze the juice out of it.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think that's my biggest problem.
Did that make more sense?
Sorry,
now that you heard about it, did that make more sense about the O-line coach with the balls too?
Yeah, it really does. It really helps because I think you guys pinpointed it. I think my frustration is during team, some of my coaches that are coaching the defensive scout team or whatever, they're telling these kids, let's go 1,000,000 miles an hour. We want to stop them for everything we can. And I'm sitting here trying to go, I just want to get some good quality reps in, get our momentum going and get things in next week. And really what I could do by what you guys are saying is I can level set, say, hey, this first 10 minutes of team, I'm going to get my plays in. Everyone's going to work. I need the defense to drop to where they're dropping and just give me a good look. And then the last 10 minutes, let's just go full bore. Let's make it a competition period. And then the gloves are off for everybody. And now you can coach your kids to compete and win. And so I think that's part of my frustration is half the coaches want to treat that last one period as one thing. And if I break it up and set the expectation that way, like you guys are describing, I think that'll help me a ton.
Verbalize. Why do who keeps muting me? Verbalize it as
Coach Nap.
Verbalize it as Team O Scout D. And then, you got to do it for them too. Then it's Team D Scout O. Mm-hmm. And that's the key. That's the key word for your coaches because it's the coaches are getting you. It's not the kids.
Oh man!
When it's Scout D, it's not a competition. It's a rehearsal. So They got to understand that. And then when you have that when they know competition period's coming, so even Scout D, heck, you might not even have all your starters in there. That's the time you put the backups in there. Because all they got to do is get lined up and take 3 steps. So once you tag it, you give them that tag as Scout D. That's the signal. We're not competing right now. We're rehearsing right now. Now it's a little different because Scout O has to go a little harder, but we're running their plays. You're actually drawing cards, and you're running the next team's plays for your defense. So that'll help you, but it's your own coaches are getting you right now. They're wanting to compete during that period, and that's not a competition period. That's a line up like them, so I can get my crap ready so we can win. And sometimes you got to have that talk with them. Do you want to win? The way I tell you to, and do it the way I tell you to, so that we can win on Saturday. I guess when do you guys play? Saturdays or Thursdays?
Saturdays. Well, the funny thing is, Coach, is that you guys seen my quarterback who's legit. He's a legit quarterback. It's his dad that does our Scout D, and he's trying to get his kid, and he's trying to get after him. So, that won't be a problem next year, but I love that. You guys are helping me kind of frame my practices properly because it's been a pet peeve of mine forever. Like, oh my gosh, I just want to get like 10 good plays in a row. You guys are blitzing, bringing the house. We never freaking see that stuff. Like, just let me run my plays and we'll get to this competition period in a second.
Don't worry. It happens in high school too. That's a problem.
All right, cool. All right, guys, I want to be conscious of time. We've been on for an hour. I just have like a few more questions. I appreciate you guys hanging with me so long. I just want to, there's a lot of youth coaches that are going to watch this and their mind's going to be blown when I tell them, and I've told them through this air raid webinar series I've created, it's not a hard air raid rule that you only have 3 run plays, but it basically is. So I just want you guys, I want to get your opinions on how an offense can work with only 3 running plays. I just want to help put these guys' mind at ease. Any good advice on that?
We've had pretty successful years with only 1 run play.
running onto the field.
No, I mean we've gone the whole year with only running ISO. I mean we've only run mid zone for an entire year. I mean we've done it before. 3 is plenty. I mean really 3 is more than enough. I mean by far. I mean honestly, you need to have some kind of downhill play, some kind of outside play, and probably some kind of misdirection play. And that's enough. That's more than enough.
Yeah, agreed.
When Matt Mummy hired me at LaGrange, he told me we had 3 run plays. We ran on the field, we ran off the field, and we ran draw. Those were our 3 runs. But Coach is right, man. And just echoing what Coach Salas was saying, you got to get great at something. You know, Shane said that earlier. Get great at something. If you only have 3 run plays and you practice those one a day, you know, because you got 3 days before you play a game. Let's say you practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, whatever. You got your 3 runs, you do 1 run a game. You're going to get great at those plays. That's when your kids are going to be good at it. Same thing with the passes. You know, just play the game before the game, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I coach for a head coach right now that we run an NFL offense. I mean, it feels like that. Our playbook is probably as thick as anyone in the country. When I do my my end of the year report and I list my plays in order, my play report was 16 pages long. But even with us, when people play us, they say you got to stop the counter because that's still what we are great at. That is still like 30-something, percent of our offense. I mean, what you got to have one play. That's your play. And even with just 3, you're going to be great at 1. And then the other 2 are going to be complementary. Figure it out. Nap's right. Whatever that one play is, it sounds like you're going to be like us, and it's probably going to be counter. So you said that's your baby. But find you a play and get great at it. Have a couple complementary deals, but get good at that. I mean, get great at one play and get great at pass pro.
Absolutely. Yeah, GT counter is my thing. And I've found some like-minded folks with Salas, and it sounds like you guys run counter too. So, my biggest goal this year was to figure out more ways to be more like Oklahoma, figure out more ways to run counter, whether it's a quarterback action off of it or whatever. So I honestly.
Oh my God, we run counter about. I wish I was exaggerating. I think we run counter about 27 different ways.
Hey Joe, what was your all's yards per attempt on that GT play y'all run?
Who you asking about, Shane or me?
You, Joe. Y'all got a lot of yards on that, didn't you?
Yeah, we I can't remember. It was on the video, but we ran counter one way. So we're anti Shane. We got 1 run and we run it one way. So and when we went to the state championship game, we ran inside zone. And I don't know if we had another run, did we, Shane?
We did, but it was. I mean, really, we ran mid zone probably 85% of the time.
And there were years we ran dart. There was a year we ran dart, and we had a 1,000-yard rusher on varsity, on JV, and we might have had one on freshman team, and that's all we ran was dart. We had nothing else. We had 3 other plays that we inserted, but I don't know if they ever saw a real game or not. They were just practice plays.
Yeah, and all those fronts they say you can't run dart too. We did.
So get good at one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and 3 is. I mean, so I stole, and I've put it out there on all of our channels. We stole Coach Salas's 3-day install plan, and it fits perfectly. 3 runs in our 3-day install, and just like anything else, all you guys out there listening, it's just about how you practice it. If you have 3 runs and you focus on those 3 runs all the way through camp, you're going to be fine. And you're actually going to be better off, because when I took over this offense last year, again, split back veer, our coach was an O-line Hall of Famer from De La Salle. He would take the first day and he'd teach midline on both sides and then inside veer and then out, and he'd go down the list and go all the way out and then all the way back in. It's like all these run plays, and you use like 2 or 3 really. So guys, it's all we're doing is focusing your attention in on your favorite plays that work the best, and all you're going to do is rep them more in practice than you used to do. I mean, that you can't go wrong with that. There's literally no reasoning that you can tell me that learning 15 run plays is better than learning 3 and just being great at it. I don't know.
No, there is no way. I did I met with a staff. I met with a head coach from Georgia the other day. He wanted me to kind of go over practice schedule and game planning in the air raid with him, and I kind of broke a little table down for him and said it's as simple as that. I mean, you got 3 days. Here's your run. Here's your the same thing we all do. Here's your run. Here's your screen. Here's your 90. Here's your quick. You fill that table in. I mean, I gave him the table. That here's your table. Figure out how it works for you. What do you want to put in there is fine, but it doesn't matter what you put in there. But you got to figure out what you want in that thing and how you can practice it each week and then make it happen. And you just keep doing it over and over and over and over, and magic happens.
Yeah, Jay has a video on YouTube on it. I would link him to that.
Yeah, I'll put it in there for sure. I literally stole it and just plugged in my plays into it. Hey, real quick, Hefe's got a question about best front to run dart against. You guys are dart coaches. At a 1 or a 3 technique?
Yes, both.
Just run it.
Yeah.
I love
no,
it.
I'm a big believer in that. I know most people will tell you the 1 technique, and I know why they say that. It's great to be able to base. I mean, to double team the 1 technique and run at the bubble. It is, but if you're a dart team, it takes about 10 seconds of teaching for your guys to understand that they're going to pull up a gap tighter and run it inside the 3. I mean, you're going to base a B gap technique and you're going to double team the A gap technique. It don't matter where they line up at. So if your A gap technique's a 1 and you double team him and you kick the 3 backwards and you run into the B gap, great. If you kick base the 3 out and you kick the backside 1 and you run into A gap, sure, it works just as good. I mean, it doesn't matter. Both of them are fine.
Right. I love it. Okay. Very cool. All right. So we're wrapping it up. Best advice for a young youth, let's just say middle school. These kids are anywhere from 11 to 14, 15 at the most. Some of these kids turn 15 during the season, so it's a little bit of a loophole there. But best advice, O-line coach coming into the season. You probably played high school, maybe a little college, but mostly high school to some extent. There's a need at O-line. Coach asked you to do it. What's your best advice for that guy coming into the season? Because we are going to play this year.
Buy in, get excited about it, make sure the kids know you're excited about it, and then master your drills. Same thing that we talked about early on in the talk tonight. Once you master the drills, then you can get your kids to master the drills, and they'll be fantastic players for you.
Awesome. Let's go around the horn. Come on.
I tell them to buy Shane's O-line.
That will be in that will be.
I would just say, exactly what Shane said. Get the key stuff from Shane. That video is a great resource. But, man, I think it goes even deeper, and I know Joe and Shane probably agree with me on this. If this pandemic's taught me anything, it's just cherish the time you got with them, especially at that age. So, I'm missing on my kids and my players. Just enjoy the time you got with them.
Coach Salad.
Same. I'm crazy about you, Matt, and what you're doing. And I'm going through right now and interviewing some of your guys from your roundtable. I talked to Todd last night, and I'm doing Mike this week, and because I just think it's so important that middle school and rec ball guys have some place to go now. So, and look, I don't promote anyone's stuff, but doggone Shane, now you got to get his stuff. We have that course, and that's like the Bible to my O-line coach. I mean, that's it. And when I'm saying we do exactly what Shane does, we do exactly what Shane does. If Shane says to do it, we do it because he's that good. I think your O-line coach, he has to be a drill master. After coaching with Shane so many years, that cat is a drill master, and there's a toughness of consistency that to be able to go and just go to friggin' work every day, and you're almost doing the same drills over and over and over, and to just have the nuts and the guts to do it perfect every single day. He takes, I've seen him do it over and over. He takes fat guys, not athletic fat guys, and you know the deal. That drill he showed your pass pro. We call it Skelly Pro. 7-on-7 on one side, pass pro on the other. At the beginning of the year, it's funny because you got all these fat kids on one side, all these studs on the other side, and the studs just rip them a new one for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then the tide turns, and before the season is over, those studs, they don't want that drill no more because Shane has taken those fat boys and taught them the fundamentals, and they whoop their ass every single day from week 4 on. The fat boys dominate that drill, and it's because of Shane being so consistent in the position periods. And it's just be a drill master and have the nuts and guts to be consistent day after day after day. And now with hell, I'd love to be a middle school coach now. With the research, you get anything that has Shane Dular's name on it, get it. And then all your resources, you have a place. Like I told you when I interviewed you, I got a middle school coach who wants to do the air raid, but he had to see some other people doing it successfully. And now he has that. He can look at your channel and see people doing it great at a high level. And I just think it's going to change the game, man. I think you're the key to getting the numbers back up in football. We got to throw the dang football and get air raid going, and those numbers will shoot back up. They don't want to – kids don't want – they're different. They don't want a slobber knocker. Who wants to do that, They want to throw the ball around and have fun, and you pointed it out, Matt. They're doing it in flag football. Why the hell can't they do it when you put the helmets on?
Same thing.
So now there's a resource for that, and but to be a great O-line coach, you be a drill master and be consistent, and that's it. And you'll turn fat boys into monsters.
Do you have to dip? You have to chew or no? Is that a thing?
Shane never dipped.
No.
Shane chews some gum every now and then.
That's about it.
He never dipped. Shane don't yell a whole lot. He don't cuss. He just believes, and he consistently works the drills and believes in what he's doing, and them kids get good. I mean, I wish you could see from day 1 pass pro to day to week 9 and see the difference. The first day that D-line is just demolishing them fat kids, and by week 9 they don't.
You gotta take their heart
forward. They do not look forward to passing anymore. What you say?
You gotta take their heart from them.
Yeah, you gotta take their heart.
Exactly.
That first week they're talking bad shit down there, and then by week 9 they don't want no more. Shane, them fat boys have dominated them, and then Shane beats it, and they go have fun.
Yeah. Well, the O-line is a special group, guys, and we all know that from the beginning. From the beginning of the first days we ever played football back in our way too long ago youth. But O-line is a special group. I definitely believe that. I just wanted to try to put these coaches' minds at ease because, like you said, the whole reason I got into this was because I saw this air raid as a way to get our numbers back up. Like, these kids love playing this way. They want to throw the ball around. They want to catch it. They want to be a part of a team. Even if they're a lineman, they want to be a part of a team that's putting up. I mean, you know how many highlights these kids on our team get to put their huddle highlights out, and they get to go show them again. Even if they only had the one highlight for the year, they still got that, right? And it just wouldn't have happened in any other scenario. And so I really believe the only reason I'm on this mission is to help get the numbers back up. I hate the fact that I go one town over and the freshman team doesn't exist. My college roommate for 5 years at Nevada, he coaches at Bishop O'Dowd, where Napoleon Kaufman has been the AD, and Terrell Owens, his kid, goes to school there, and all these pro athletes, and they don't even have a freshman team. Like, even these great Bishop O'Dowd private schools that are dominant in their world, they're even losing participation numbers. So let's give the ball, spread it out. I just want to give coaches the ability. They grew up like us, running one system. That's all we know. And there's nothing wrong with coaching that when you get back to football as a youth coach. That's just what we know. But if they can go find the resources, I did it just by digging in and finding Salas and you guys and Coach Mackey and did the research. So thank you guys for helping us on this mission of empowering, enabling youth coaches. Quick question before we leave. Did you guys all play youth football? You did?
Yeah, youth football probably kept me out of jail. So yeah, it was good for me.
Me too. It actually changed my life. I got out of trouble playing when I discovered that there was actually kids with pads on at middle school. I'm like, this is actually a thing. Holy cow. And it caused me to not be fighting and using my energies in a better way. Let's just call it that. What about you, Coach?
No, I was actually a little different. I was baseball only back then.
Oh, I love baseball. Don't get me wrong. I love a good. I was just watching the Giants take care of business with Game 7 against the Royals last night. They were replaying my Giants World Series from a couple of years ago.
Tell you what, there's a lot of nostalgia on TV right now. That's for sure.
Oh, I know, it's crazy when live sports comes down to the draft. That's the version of live sports right now, and that's a pretty crazy time. Coach Salas, you play youth football?
Absolutely, loved it.
All right.
Awesome. Me and my some of my best stories are from me and my brother playing rec football in Valdosta, Georgia, over there in Shane's territory.
Love it. Awesome. Well, good. Well, thanks guys for coming on today and being a part of this. I will put all the relevant links in the description of this. So Shane Dular's Mesh 92 group, the Bible essentially is, as I see it from now on. Coach Salas has already been saying that, and Coach Knapp, but I'm new to the party. But once I saw that, I had to do my duty and reach out to Coach Shane and hope he didn't shoot me down. But everyone in this air raid community is so great. He came on, and we really appreciate all your guys' knowledge. We'll continue to try to bring good content out there. So youth coaches, don't be scared. You can run the air raid. You can run the spread. Your kids can handle it. They can run and catch and throw. And more importantly, the O-line can get it done. Just coach them up, and we'll give you all the tools to do so. Any parting word, guys, before we sign out of here?
Matt, I sure appreciate you having me on here. I was looking forward to this thing, and it was a lot of fun. And number one thing is what you said a few minutes ago. O-line is a special group, and whoever coaches them, keep telling them that. One of the best things about the head coach I work for here is he always reminds the team about what a great position that is. Now, he coaches O-line, so that's part of it. But, he always tells the skill kids, your name goes in the newspaper, theirs doesn't. Remember the sacrifices they make for you. And it's a special, special group. And they're always the close-knit. They're always the hardest working. It's a great group of guys. They're the most fun to coach. Man, enjoy being a part of that special group right there. ATM.
I'll just say this, Matt. Thanks for having us. I'd love to be back, especially with these two guys. And if you guys think Shane's good at O-line, you should hear him talk quarterbacks. So that's all I got to say.
Love it. Let's do it.
Hey, Matt, just to piggyback on Shane, we did the number one, what you're doing is the key, man. Giving these resources to middle school and rec league guys, I think is going to change the game. I told you when you were on my deal, you're the most important guy in air raid football right now.
You need to stop saying stuff like that, man.
No, I really mean
it's the truth.
The ability to get the middle school and the rec league throwing the football is going to change everything. And then just to piggyback on what Shane said, we did our core principles, Friday equals family. And this Friday we talked about, there's no group like O-line. When you talk about family, you talk about having people's backs. And, O-line, they don't get to touch the ball. They don't get to score touchdowns. They don't get any of the glory. The only, even in the big leagues, the only time their name gets called is when they're holding somebody. And yet they bust their tails so that the running back can score touchdowns and the quarterback can throw passes and the receivers can catch passes. There's no group like O-line, and when you talk about, just that family first, if everyone thought and worked and played like O-linemen, it'd be a pretty dang good world, so O-line's the key, and Shane always does the ATM, all that matters. And it's the truth. If everyone on your team thought and worked like O-line, you have a pretty dang good football team. So we got to do a good job of reminding everybody that.
Absolutely. Great words of wisdom, guys. I think we all feel the same way. And if it doesn't come across, all you guys out there, O-line is not devalued in a passing offense. If anything, we need them more. So thanks for joining us, everyone. Thank you for the Roundtable panel. You guys are awesome. We'll continue to push everything. I'll put all the links in the comments below so everyone can get all three of these coaches. I use Coach Snaps for my receivers. I send them to his videos for my receivers. Coach Joe Salas, I've stolen half of his videos as my own. And Shane Dular, I love your O-line stuff. We'll put that in there, and hopefully we can stop talking about quarterbacks too, because that's another hot topic out here with the youth coaches. So thanks everyone for joining us. Appreciate you spending your Monday with us. And yeah, let's get the numbers back up and help kids choose football again. See you guys.
Appreciate it, Coach.